soon as this thing starts bending and jigging, we're getting fish.
The new way these crews are catching red snapper has saved the fish population from collapse.
The commercial system has helped give some breathing room to the fishery and let these fish come back.
We're all on the same playing field now, and you see the fishery start to get better.
Not anyone can just do this. It's hard work, really. Here he comes, right on in.
These golden-winged warblers need a little help finding a good home. We'll show you how landowners are managing their forests to help provide tasty vegetation and some prime real estate.
We're gonna go fishing for plankton.
Yay!
Okay.
It looks like they have one black eyeball.
We are looking for birds, fish, boats, anything that is fun in the lake before we start our testing.
This is not just a fun summer boat ride. These young scientists are learning to appreciate and protect a clean water supply.
And if they love it, then they're going to want to take care of it.
Don't fly off now. We're thrilled to reel you in for another exciting season of This American Land.
Hey everybody, welcome to This American Land. I'm your host, Ed Arnett, and it's great to be back with you this new season. We've got some terrific stories coming up about the conservation of America's natural resources, our landscapes, waters, wildlife, and the people that are dedicated to conservation across the country. Today we start off in Galveston, Texas, along the Gulf Coast, to see how commercial fishermen have adopted the individual fishing quota system, reaping the benefits of sustainable management of red snapper, a fish population that has made a remarkable recovery after years of overfishing.
Having a fishery that is sustainable does a couple things. It ensures a food supply for our country, but it also provides a way of life that me and my family have enjoyed for many years. And I'd like to see that continue. I'm Buddy GUINDON. I'm a commercial fisherman out of Galveston, Texas, and I love my job. We are out in the Gulf of Mexico with my son Hans and my son Christopher. Ooh, they're big daddies! I'm gonna head out probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 miles to start out with. I've been fishing in the Gulf of Mexico for 39 years. I have seen so many changes in this fishery, it's kind of hard to comprehend where we were and where we are now. Our fishery was very overfished. Go ahead and fish. The old fishery management system was command and controls. The government set up an amount of fish you could catch, and then they would adjust that by a number of days at sea, or trip limits on your fish, or a number of people that could be on the boat. All these ways to limit you. See that hook in them already? There's been a lot of activity here, a lot of fishing going on. It's competitive. The harder you work, the more money you made. But the craziness, the risk of your life, the maintenance of your equipment, all the things that I should have been tending to didn't get done. When the regulations were a derby fishery where we raced against each other to fish, you tried to fish as close in as you could, and that's where the smaller fish are. And so we were discarding as much fish as we were keeping. I had a reputation of playing fast and loose with the regulations. I was the kind of person I disliked today. The Magnuson-Stevens Fishery Conservation Act made us use science as the basis for how much fish we take out of the oceans. At the time of its implementation, 80% of our fisheries in this country were overfished. Today, 80% of our fisheries are either fully recovered or in the late stages of recovery.
Nice 6, 7 pound fish.
And it has saved our fisheries in the United States.
As soon as this thing starts bending and jigging, we're getting fish.
Well, each fisherman was given a portion of the catch in an IFQ system, and you stay within your catch limits, and you harvest the fish when you want.
These fish here are too close to the legal size limit. 1/4 inch too small. Back during the Derby, we were under a time limit. Now we can fish year-round, so if I get in a place where there's a lot of small fish, I just leave. Come back to it when they grow up. It's really time to get out of here and go somewhere else.
My allocation was 4.7% of the total allowable catch in the Gulf of Mexico. And that's what I fish, and that equates to about 360,000 pounds a year. The trade-off for the individual fishing quota system was accountability. They know when we're coming, when we're gonna be there, how much we're supposed to have, and it works better.
The commercial system has helped give some breathing room to the fishery and let these fish come back, because commercial fishermen are now incentivized to be stewards, because they know they have a certain percentage of the harvest every year. They know that that percentage will be bigger in terms of number of pounds the more fish are in the water. My name is Robert E. Jones, and I'm the Gulf of Mexico Director for the Environmental Defense Fund. Some detractors of this system have said this is just a sneaky way to privatize the resource. And I think anyone who takes a closer look at it realizes that doesn't really hold water. No one owns the fish. The American public own the fish.
You got 100 pounds of fish here in a matter of a couple of minutes. And then we could stay there all day and do that.
There are people who have earned and bought the right to harvest a certain amount of fish. It's just a different way to manage.
Let's go.
There are recreational fishing lobby groups that doesn't like commercial fishing because it interferes with their ability to recreate. Will they alter the system? Yes. There'll always be someone that wants to tweak it or fix it.
In the commercial fishery, there are very few people in the business that I'm in, but they also represent 97% of the people in the country who own this resource.
The change for me came once I realized that I could do a better job. There was a time when I never would allowed any of my children to get in the fishing business. It was dangerous, hard, and if you worked really hard like I did, you made good money, but it wasn't the kind of money you should make for working like that.
439 pounds of red snapper, Andy.
So once we changed from, you know, cheat, lie, steal to a system that took that away.
This is Katie's Seafood Market. We have a retail market for the public.
We're all on the same playing field now, and you see the fishery start to get better. And then you start to think, wow, this could be something I could let my kids do.
It's got to be something you love to come out here and actually do it for a living. You can't, not anyone can just do this. It's hard work, really.
Easy right there. Now I can keep them in the fishery and I can build a family business. I can have my whole family working together. That's been a dream of mine my whole life, and now I have it. And for me, that change came with individual fishing quotas, where I became a better steward of the resource, I became a better steward of my family, and I became a better steward of my fishing friends around me.
Now we go to Pennsylvania, where the loss of diverse forest habitat has led to the decline of songbirds like the golden-winged warbler. With a federal program to help private landowners sustainably manage their forests, diverse forest habitats are now being restored and songbirds are coming back.
What we have here is a reservoir that was put in the mid-1930s. It's about 80 years old. I've owned the property, started in 1978 when my father died. It comprises a total area now of 600 acres. If you own something, you really have a responsibility to take care of it. And in many parts, with the stone quarrying and the timber that was taken out, it's largely paid me back. What we will see as we go up through here is a blend of the golden wing habitat and the cerulean habitat. This is my South Mountain Road entrance. But as you'll note, as we're walking out there, the forest harvest is still ongoing at this point.
These oaks are going to host a wide variety of insect prey for these insectivorous birds. Not to mention the heterogeneity of the residual trees within the stand creates a really complex landscape that allows for a wide variety of different species. The Baltimore oriole looks like maybe a pair.
Yeah, there's two of them there.
Rose-breasted grosbeak here in the top of this tree here.
I was very impressed with the fact that even though, I mean, we have skitters right there, the population of birds right here at the edge currently.
There's a bay-breasted on the tree.
30 feet up on the left side, close to the trunk.
A lot of these species of birds that are benefiting from the property are pretty desperate for habitat. Early successional birds are in decline generally across the board, and that's due to habitat loss.
Right.
So it makes a lot of sense to me that we're seeing birds respond to this as soon as they can get in here.
Right.
Here he comes, right on in. I think that there's a very high likelihood that within the next few years, golden wing warblers may actually occur on the site, even if it's not now.
If you look in the direction here, you'll see an unmanaged forest. And as we progress up, this is an area, of course, that we've actively managed.
The key here is responsible forestry that causes regeneration of the forest, a young forest to be created. If the trees don't regenerate, cutting down trees is harmful to wildlife. But creating a harvest that results in regeneration of the understory, that is what these animals need. These wild species rely on regenerating forests to complete their life cycle. So this timber harvesting it essentially mimics a natural disturbance that you might see to regenerate that forest for those species.
A lot of Pennsylvania in the past has been high graded, which high grading means that you're taking the best and leaving all the rest.
Right. I'm low grading the property. I'm taking out all the low grade material.
John is one of our best examples of a forward-thinking landowner.
Now you've opened up the canopy of all these high quality trees so that they can only grow larger.
You've designed it for 4 different vernal pools within this small area?
Yeah.
Generally, as I've worked with forest landowners throughout Pennsylvania, I find the majority of the time they're very open to ideas. I mean, they want to improve their land for recreation, for wildlife. So what you've done, John, here is essentially created a new ecosystem on your forest land that wasn't here before. They get more and more excited, and I love seeing that process.
One of the other things we try to do is take stumps that were taken out to build the pool, put them back in the water just as a loafing area.
You know, they come back to us with their ideas, and it's really collaborative effort between, you know, sometimes 3 and 4 and 5 state, local, and federal agencies and the landowner to come up with the best plan for his property. It's a lot of fun, and it's one of the reasons I really enjoy working for the Natural Resource Conservation Service.
Populations of many eastern forest birds have been declining for a long time, and the golden wing warbler is one of those species that has been declining the most significantly.
So it's about 6:15 in the morning. We're here in north central Pennsylvania. This is a birdsong app. We are going to try and target net some golden wing warblers this morning. This is a male golden wing warbler.
So in Pennsylvania since 2008, we've been studying golden wing warbler breeding ecology in places like this.
So the first thing we always do is put our silver USGS leg band on, just like that.
The work is being conducted by a series of student field technicians. Those studies allow us to develop the science, the recommendations that we use on properties, learn their territories, understand the vegetation structure of those territories, understand the surrounding landscape conditions.
8.59.
Boil that stuff down into usable information that landowners can use to manage for golden winged warblers on their property.
I really care a lot about the land and the creatures that live on it because it's part of my heritage. I grew up on this farm. This is a bobcat that we photographed. It was stalking birds right outside our living room window.
So early morning, that's really the height of the bird activity.
Oh, here comes the mourning dove.
Yeah.
So the mourning dove just landed.
Ooh, a neat woodpecker just came into the suet tree. It's called a pileated woodpecker.
We like to keep track of what birds are in our backyard, and that gives us ideas of what to plant. And as citizen scientists, we know that we're helping with migration studies and that kind of thing. What a beautiful day. So this is what we call the woodcock area. It's a 2-acre cut.
In our 114 acres we have, it's mostly forested.
Rubus is a really good food source for songbirds that eat caterpillars. There's lots of caterpillars on Rubus.
We have an area of about 27 to 30 acres that we logged to improve the habitat for golden-winged warblers, to attract any species that benefit from the young forest. I wanted to show what the area looked like before the logging took place.
The focus is for these songbirds of threatened population and create that habitat, and also do that while we're encouraging sustainable forestry and the diversity, because so much of our forests in Pennsylvania have become more of a monoculture.
We need to make sure that we're controlling invasive species and encouraging the growth of desirable seedlings.
Forested landscapes that have a diversity or a balance of age classes is really what provides the best opportunities to conserve forest wildlife, because we're able to meet the habitat needs of many different species. So you've got that here.
This is one of the 25 brush piles that our logger built for us while they were doing the logging. So this one I designed with bears in mind. We're both retired science teachers, and so all of this, everything we see around here, we have a fascination for. And we want to know more about what that insect is and what those plants are and how can we make this even better.
I feel that we have an obligation as humans to protect the wildlife that actually sustains us. And so I consider this my little piece of paradise, and I want to protect it as much as I can.
In North Georgia, Lake Lanier is a major reservoir supplying drinking water for some 4 million people in metro Atlanta. Keeping that water clean is important, and the Captain Planet Foundation sponsors a program for school kids that's all about water quality, encouraging them to join in the conservation of Lake Lanier.
So we're in North Georgia, just outside of Gainesville. We're at Aqualand Marina. It is on Lake Lanier, and the Chattahoochee River flows through Lake Lanier, and it continues downstream, south and west. The Chattahoochee River, including Lake Lanier, of course, supplies drinking water for approximately 4 million people, which is 70% of Metro Atlanta.
All right, boys and girls, welcome everybody here to Aqualand Marina. Before we go out in the boat, everybody's got to put on a life jacket. 90% of all the rivers in our country have some kind of contaminant in them. So we are trying to encourage the children to take part in conservation of the water and keeping the water quality good for everyone. How many of you, with raising your hand, have never been on a boat before? 1, 2, 3. Never been on Lake Lanier before. All right, watch your step around these posts.
Let's go have fun.
We get the students suited up in some life jackets, get them on the boat, then we take them out to the middle of the lake. And give me a woo! Woo! All right, Cap, we're ready. We are looking for birds, fish, boats, anything that is fun in the lake before we start our testing. There's 2 ways to test the water, chemically or biologically. We're gonna use a Secchi disc. You are gonna lower this down into the water until it disappears. We are testing the water to see the turbidity, and that is testing for the clarity, how much suspended solids are in the water. We're gonna go fishing for plankton.
Yeah!
Okay.
It looks like the plankton from SpongeBob?
Well, the animal plankton does look like that animal on SpongeBob, and he's got one eye smack dab in the middle of his head.
More rope, please.
And they are also looking for plankton.
You see it floating right there until I was going?
Julian, you see it, buddy?
I see it.
This is a biological study looking for signs of living things, the food chain.
It looks like they have one black eyeball.
Come on up to our bucket like this. We are going to be doing some chemical tests on our lake water to find out how healthy Lake Lanier is. Squeeze out 8 drops.
There are 9 tests that all states do for water quality testing, and this was done through the Clean Water Act in 1972.
Hold that box out. A lot of them come thinking that the lake is not healthy, that it's polluted. And it's really fun to see the look on their faces when they do the test and discover that it's in pretty good shape. Based on our chemical test, would you all say that we have healthy water here at Lake Lanier? Yes, excellent.
Whoa. My favorite part today was when we were going fishing. My favorite part was doing the chemicals. When we saw the plankton in the telescopes.
I really like developing that love for this lake. And if they love it, then they're going to want to take care of it. Then hopefully they'll do that as they grow and become the ones who are making the policies when they're adults.
Bye, thank you.
This is kind of like Jeopardy, except all the answers are on this map right here. What is the #1 pollutant in Georgia waterways? We've got a game called Lakeology. We've got this big chart. It's got history to modern days, all the issues that come up around Lake Lanier.
Soil?
Soil, silt is the correct answer. You guys get 40 points. So with this, we've got everything to be discovered is on that map, and they get excited because they know they can discover the correct answer.
Coming.
Coming is correct. Yeah! That's kind of the main thing I like about science is discovery. We're not getting any more water. That's kind of the point of this part of the program. And we're in the drought right now. You guys can see how the lake is down about 8 feet. So more and more people are moving to Georgia, and more people are using the same water resource. So we really don't want to waste it. You don't want to get it dirty. Like one of the questions we have on the test is ways to save water. If you're brushing your teeth, just turn the faucet off while you brush and then turn it back on when it's time to rinse. You saw them jumping up and down and screaming and stuff. They get real excited about learning about the lake. How much of the information sticks, we don't know, but at least they're excited about the subject, and they had a good time coming out here to Lake Lanier and learn that people are taking care of it, and it's their job to take care of it too.
You know, given that so many people rely on Lake Lanier and the Chattahoochee River for their lifeline, I would hope that every single student gets an opportunity to come on board this program and learn that the water that's in their backyards, the water that's flowing in the river that they drive over, you know, on their way to school, is the same water that sustains them.
I never, as a child, had a field trip like this one that they were on today. Boy, that would have been awesome. We had a blast, did we not? Yeah! Seeing their smiles and saying, this is the best field trip ever. You get that? That made my day.
Now, here's a quick look at stories from our next show.
It's nice to go out and serve our country and then come back here and do things for the local community.
As a Native American, it means a whole lot to me and my culture.
So this is a great example of a commercial solution to a conservation challenge.
Veterans are among the dedicated workers keeping this Colorado River tributary healthy for humans and wildlife.
It's not only crowding out other plant species that we want to have here, it affects the riverbank and the river system itself.
The enemy here? Invasive species.
So we got to get out here and get this arugula.
This system is set up to where the fish feeds the plants, and the plants in return feed the fish.
It's important to have farms in the city because we've lost track of where we've come from.
How does this garden grow in the middle of a big city? We'll show you the creative roots of this tasty project.
Yeah, some of them have a beautiful set of tones that come together to form a really nice rumble. It really resonates with some people, me included.
And nature has a way of speaking to many of us. Hear what these arches are saying in Utah. Next time on This American Land.
That's all for now, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on This American Land.
For more information about this program, visit thisamericanland.org and like us on Facebook.